This is Joyce Pellino Crane. I'm the News Director at WestfordCAT, and I am here today with Deputy Fire Chief Dan Britko. Dan, welcome.
Hi, Joyce. Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad to have you here. We're here to talk about the Pan Am Railways training that the fire department underwent in April and May. And the reason why it's come up is because I saw it in Town Manager Jody Ross's newsletter and thought I would explore it a little bit. I'm really interested in knowing how the fire department works with Pan Am Railways, because we have had a couple of derailments in recent years. So it's an important aspect of what the fire department does. Dan, tell us a little bit about how it began. I know in May you did a practical, and in April you did a classroom setting training program. So can you work your way backwards and tell us a little bit about the May operation that took place?
Yeah, in the May operation, we had Pan Am brought out one of their locomotives, a tank car which would normally carry either propane or oil. In this case, it would have carried oil, and a box car, which can carry different commodities. And the intent of the drill was it was actually twofold. We kind of responded to the area for an unknown odor, and we happened to come upon a train that was idling on the tracks.
So this was a mock drill. It didn't really happen.
Correct.
And this was in Graniteville, correct?
Yes, at the end of 2nd Street. It was a nice spot for us to have easy access to the tracks. So the drill entailed the crews actually going on their full personal protective equipment and air packs to investigate an unknown odor around the train. And what they ended up finding was the conductor was unconscious in the cab of the locomotive.
So that was a surprise. You didn't know that was going to be part of the drill?
Well, I knew it was part of the drill because I set the drill up, but
Okay.
the crews did not.
They did not.
They did not. So we tried to make it obviously as realistic as possible. So now they were faced with extricating this conductor out of the cab of the locomotive, yet taking all safety precautions for their own health, you know, with the full protective gear, air packs, and everything like that.
When you say air packs, is that oxygen, like little
Yes.
little bottles of oxygen?
Well, it's actually air.
Air.
Yes, because oxygen and fire don't mix too well. So that's why the packs have air in them.
Yeah. So how did it turn out? What happened?
Well, it was good because we divided up into 2 teams. We set the first team in, and they came up with a game plan to how they were going to remove the conductor. And the cab of the locomotives are huge. However, they're made up mainly of the generator that powers the locomotive. The cab where the conductor and the engineer are very small. And this gentleman was rather large. So they tried to remove him out the door of the cab of the locomotive, only to find that he wouldn't fit with any of our equipment.
Was that planned? Did you set that part up too?
We knew he wouldn't fit.
Yeah. Okay.
So then, at this point, most of their oxygen had been used up in their bottles, so they had to come out and to what we call the warm zone, which is the 3 different zones that we set up around any hazardous incident. We sent another team in to come up with another game plan. And what they ended up doing was the windows that you usually see the engineer leaning on when they go through the crossings were wide enough that we could take the engineer out those windows, which was a challenge in its own right. And we actually had to use a lot of rescue equipment, a lot of ground ladders, and at that point, the first team had put new air bottles on, and so we probably had 12 people just to extricate one individual out of the cab of the locomotive.
And did you have like a stretcher that you put him on, or did you just carry him out?
We actually put him in a basket that we call a Stokes Basket, and we were able to slide him down the ladder to more crew that were on the ground, and then they took the whole basket and placed him on the stretcher. And brought him over to the ambulance.
Wow, that was pretty intriguing. So is that your role to set the training up? Is that part of what you do?
That's one of my roles. The department has a dedicated training officer who's Captain David O'Keefe. But I worked with him in conjunction, with Pan Am for this particular drill.
And how did you recruit? You don't have to say who the gentleman was, but how did you recruit the man who played that role?
He was actually the conductor for the train.
He was the true conductor for the train. So that's so realistic, and wow, what a good sport he must have been.
Yeah, I don't think they told him at the beginning of the day what he was going to be doing, but he was a good sport.
Wow. So, and were any other fire departments involved in that incident, that mock drill?
Yes, we invited some of the neighboring towns. We invited Littleton, we invited Chelmsford, and we invited Lowell. Littleton had some other incidents going on, so they weren't able to come out. Chelmsford actually sent it was 5 people plus their training captain, and the Lowell fire chief came out with one of his captains, and there was another lieutenant or something, so they came out. So we had personnel from 3 different fire departments.
Wow, so that's great. So the tracks go, I know the tracks go through Chelmsford. I'm very familiar with those tracks. They go through Lowell as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, they go from actually Waterville, Maine to Albany, New York.
Wow, that's a stretch. I was telling you, we were speaking on the phone yesterday, and I was telling you that years ago I actually had a house in Wakefield, and there was a freight track right in, my backyard ended and there were the tracks, and so that freight train used to go through my yard once a day, I believe it was, and it shook the whole house.
Oh yeah.
So I'm always very, very interested in in safety for those tracks, because I sort of lived that concern for about 16 years. I had that house, and I know you feel it's quite safe, though.
I do. It's they're regulated by the federal government, Federal Railroad Administration, and the products that are shipped over the rail lines are very similar products that are shipped through 495 and Route 3 every day of the week. It's just there's more of it.
You said that some of the product is just Poland Springs water in those tank cars?
Yes. Yep.
Interesting. And what's on I was watching the train go by yesterday. I can't remember what the word was on that.
I think it's the company that maybe built those blue containers. It's called M-Skip.
Yes, M-Skip.
My curiosity was up, and I asked the individual from Pan Am that was helping us with the drill. I says, "What's in those?" And he's the one that told me it was just Poland Springs water.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then some of it is paper for the mill.
A lot of the box cars
Maine.
have paper. Building materials in the form of wood, 2x4s, and things of that sort. You see a lot of sheetrock. You do see, liquid propane and some hazardous chemicals and whatnot. But a lot of it's just regular, commodities that are used every day.
So you have to be prepared. The fire department has to be prepared for a biohazardous spill, but
Yes.
not every car is containing something that could be dangerous.
That's correct. That's correct.
And what about the derailments? We did have a couple in the past few years. Have the tracks been fixed now, or corrected?
Yes. Yeah.
Or maybe I'm asking that question wrong. Maybe there was nothing wrong with them. I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't know what the outcome was or the reason for either of the derailments. Fortunately, in both cases, there was really nothing serious that came out of it.
Good.
And there again, those guys are experts in their field as far as re-railing the cars and whatnot. And we're concerned for the water supply for the town and the people in the areas.
Absolutely.
That's our main concern. And then we let them be concerned with how they're going to get their stuff fixed.
And then in April, there was a classroom setting at the Rogers Fire Station. Is that correct? Where there was more training that went on?
Yeah, that was a preliminary training that led up to the practical drill. There again, we run 4 shifts, as do most fire departments. And the Pan Am Safety Division came out and met on 4 different occasions to make sure each member of the department received the classroom training, where we went over safety things that are put in place from the Federal Railroad Administration to how to secure a train if we need to. Hopefully we'll never have to secure a train, but they showed us how to do all that, and they were very willing and eager and more than helpful to work with us.
What does it mean, secure a train? What would you have to do to secure a train?
It takes a long time for like an engineer, when they leave a train idling, to secure it so that it doesn't just take off, or nobody can get in there and start it and get it going.
Oh.
So I don't really want to get into all the details, but
because that's a security issue.
Yes.
Okay, we'll respect that. But yeah, so that's, I will say, as a roaming reporter around town, I have seen in past months work taking place on the tracks. So, and these were Pan Am Railways employees, because I did ask them, although they declined to comment. It was clear that they were working on the tracks, and it's good to see that that work keeps on going.
Well, the one thing they did tell us, and I see it more frequently since they told us, that twice a week they have to have one of those pickup trucks actually ride down the rails to check all the track.
Oh,
And that's a federal regulation. So twice a week, you may not see it, but it does happen. Twice a week there'll be a pickup truck. I forget what they call it, but it rides down the rails, and that's what they do.
interesting. Very, very nice to know. And I'm glad that that safety check is done regularly. Well, Deputy Fire Chief Dan Britko, thank you so very much for coming into the WestfordCAT studio today.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
You're very welcome. For WestfordCAT, this is Joyce Pellino Crane. See you around town.